we do have here is the new addition to the stable. Remington Model 7 in the ever reliable 308 Winchester. Sold my left-handed A-bolt 3006 after losing the second magazine. Didn't want to purchase a third, so went for some with non-detachable magazine as well. So this has got a floor plate. Holds 3 or 4 probably. Super short action and much shorter than the Remington Model 700s. Overall so small. Nice 20-inch barrel. Pencil thin. I can't believe how thin the barrel actually is on it. It actually feels like a 22 compared to that Kimber. And the Kimber's what used to feel like a 22. So quite interesting. Quite an interesting little gun. It's a couple grams heavier than the Kimber though, which is really interesting as well, but that probably boils down to scope and the rings. Change them out for some Tally ultralights and a slightly lighter scope and you'll be right in that Kimber ballpark. What we're doing today was just testing out some ammo that was given to us. So we had like 150 grain Corlocks, 180 grain Corlocks and some 130 grain Federals, and it's pretty average. It seems alright. I had loose scope mounts with the 180s. I thought I didn't like 180s, but worked out the scope mount had come loose, so now that's all tight. It's doing reasonable, probably 1.5 inches. I'm only worried about 2-shot groups. I don't really care for 3-shot groups, and I particularly never care about 5-shot groups. So I'm just doing cold bore shots, trying to get the first 2 to land near each other, as that's the majority of the time what's happening. And after 2, then you're spraying them anyway, and you're just praying that you're hitting them. So as a backpacking gun, I think this is going to fit the bill really well. We are going to do some reloading in the very near future, and that will hopefully get it easily within 1 inch, and we'll call it happy days. But for now, we're really just getting a bit of trigger time behind it. It's a pretty bog stock rifle. I hadn't touched it really and only put a few shots through it, and went on later to like a Tikka T3, which is like your inch MOA guarantee. So that's why a lot of people probably ditch these Model 7s, because they are very finicky with that thin barrel, quite whippy. And seeing as I'm used to the Kimbers and the ultralights per se, then I feel like I'm ready to tackle this Model 7 as the project Sambar gun. We're just waiting on a scope for it, which should be here this week, and then we'll get back out here and I'll tease a bit more about it, and we'll probably try and get the colour right in the video, but the lighting right. But till then, we're just letting the barrel cool, send a couple down range, and it's getting a feel for it. Yeah, just trying some 130 Federals here for a minute, just to see if we get the grouping, see what the gun's capable of, sort of thing. She's a whippy little barrel. Yeah, it likes them. That nearly belled me in the head too. Happy days with that. Done a few hand loads last night. 130 grain Woodleys, a 150 grain SST, and a 180 grain Bowtail soft point, all with like minimum or just above minimum start loads, just to get an idea of what it can or may do with hand loads and which one it prefers. Initial testing with 130s, 150s, 180s showed it probably favoured 130s and the 150s second, so that'll just sort of maybe confirm that and give me a ballpark on where to start with some more serious load development. So these will be just 2-shot groups, not very close together, just to see what it is somewhat capable of. Got the new scope on, just a Burris Prevail, pretty basic in this day and age. It's got a ballistic plex reticle, so a couple of drop marks, and it got delivered here for $300. So that is a tick in my book, especially for just budget walkabout bush rifle for Sambar Deer. We know it's light, we know it's got a thin barrel, wanted to keep it relatively light. Scope comes in at 370 grams. Rifle was about 2.750 kilos, which ironically the Kimber weighs about as much as this gun with a scope on it, so that's full on. So it's not quite Kimber light, but it's pretty light. It's very compact. It feels really handy to shoot, and shoulder and all that jazz. So really hoping to get something around about 1.5 inches at worst case, because it's showing it's at the moment it's about a 2-inch gun, which for walking up to 200 meters that's fine, but ideally get it down a little bit better so we can shoot 300 meter gong consistently every time. But gonna get into shooting it, so see how we go. Got a 180 grain BTSP. Got to do two shot groups with this one, as I've changed the overall length. This is a bit canalure, and the other one's a millimetre longer. We'll go for the middle. Okay, 150 SST. That was silly with no earplugs. Not bad, not bad. Alright, so back on the range today. What we're doing today is just a test to see if it's ready to go hunting. We've sort of developed our load, and we've had a bit of trigger time now. So we've got the gong up at 200 meters, and we're going to have one shot cold bore, and we've got to be able to hit that gong, otherwise we can't take this rifle into the field. That's our sort of roll. So I'm not going to stuff around too much. What we've got is our bino harness for our front rest. May put the jacket over that, and then just shoulder the gun and aim at the 200 target. So with a bit of luck, we hear a bit of a boom and a good old thud bang at the end of the couple of seconds later. So we're going to shoot. So let's target up. Righto. Perfect. Rightio, so all that's told me is that cold bore, first shot, 200 meters, I'm on. Killing deer, fallow deer size animals. So to me, we're ready to take it to the field, so without too much fucking around, let's get this wood in, and we'll head out in the morning. It's meant to be pretty cold, so we'll see how we go. Catch us out there. Nice and foggy, got the cuppa, Model 7, let's go. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Everything's just so frosty down here. Haven't heard any deer. Just Just going to go up into the sun, look back onto a hill. Kisser. A wee bit foggy, a bit frosty, all the above. Hurrying up and waiting. Then the sun will come out and then the deers might. So I'll see you in a bit. I'm going to tell you about a few new things I've got. It's a pisser. Tell you soon. Just going to cut my losses, head back to the ute, drive up to the end of the paddock where I walked to this morning and just wait for the fog to burn out and then do a little bit of glassing and see if we can pick something up. It's quite late now, like 8:30, 8:45, and the fog just isn't going to lift for quite a while actually, so nice exercise to get a few k's into the back of the property, but tail between legs and outski, get the ute back in here and then just see what's hanging around in the sun a bit later. 10-11 should burn out by then. Not much else on today, so tell you about some of this new stuff in a minute. Right, I said I was going to do a little mention of what we've got here. Fogged out. Got honked on the drive in. Walked a bloody long way up into the back, hoping to see something within my 50 metres each way visibility. Then I thought I'd sit and wait and see if the sun would bust out and give me a view of the hill. That's not the case. So yeah, here we are back at the vehicle, contemplating going back into the back of the property and just hanging out until it does burn off, but it's bloody thick today, as you can tell, so massive frost and then this fog coming in off the water, so is what it is, eh? But it was the first hunt today with my new upgraded bino harness, and I mean, this thing shits all over the sort of original one that came with my binoculars. That's to be expected. The basic ones still cost a little bit, but what I was having trouble with was the clip, like with the rubber or the band over it. I would lean forward and it would just flop out, so I tried to cinch the metal clip up just a little bit, but it just was sort of just getting to be a bit of a pain in the ass, to be honest. I do like the whole idea of these bino boxes in a harness on the chest, ready to go. And the beauty thing about this one is it's got magnets. So yeah, I've got 12 by 50s in there, and they fit pretty well in there. Didn't really get the binos out, to be honest, today with how foggy it is. But what we have here too is a newbie. We've got the Burris Prevail on it. Pretty entry level scope. But you know what's cool about it? I got this thing delivered for $300. Total price $300 delivered. So hard to beat these days. Burris have like a forever warranty as well. I've had these scopes, or a full field 2 scope in the past, and that's sort of their older model. They've upgraded now to like what they call a drop time, and these Prevails, well, they were possibly made for Canadian Tire or something like that, a limited run, just a rebranded drop time basically, essentially. It's on a 308, bit of a heavy kicker, super lightweight, and so far it's been so good. 3 to 9 by 40, and comes in at 370 grams at scope, so that's pretty cool. Good eye relief, 40mm objective, hard to beat. And what's it sitting on? I did mention it's a 308. Maybe a bit of footage of this thing getting shot. I had a little bit of trouble getting through the low developments. It wasn't such a low development, it was more just finding a bullet that it was going to probably play the game with, so we could then narrow in on some low development. But what I ended up with was about an inch 2-shot group with 150 grain spear hot cores. So looks like we'll probably go with that. We may go to the 165 grain spear hot core and just see how it groups, simply because I've brought a lot of them. But we do have quite a few 150 grainers, and we'll probably stock up on them because that Frankie's also shooting 150 grain hot cores into very tight little groups with reduced loads. So what I have got here is a Model 7. Little Model 7. 20-inch barrel. Factory pencil thin. It's got potentially Leopold 2-piece bases and rings. And it's pretty dead stock apart from that. Got the Remington Supercell recoil pad, and that's quite awesome. Plastic stock, grippy texture on the handle, in the wrist and the fore end, and just that typical Remington Model 700 feel to it. Same bolts, same finish. Not ideal. Just get the oil into them. But she's nimble, very nimble. So yeah, that comes in at 3 kilos, complete outfit. Right where I want to be. It's not a Kimber ultralight, but it's next best thing. And with these stocks, pretty indestructible. And we would use it as just a daily go-to. Still probably going to use the Kimber on the backpack hunts just because it's a lean killing machine, especially with that CDS scope. But just for everything else, this will be my go-to. So anyway, that's what we're running. Not much else to tell you, but we'll see you back out in the hills soon. Appreciate you following along, and really appreciate you guys that jump on Patreon lately. I've got a real banger of a video coming out soon. It's about an hour long. It's just a full Alpine adventure. You're going to froth it. So see you in there then. Hooroo. First deer just sort of spooked up out of here, so I took off around the corner a bit. I was able to get a shot from over on the edge here. Just in the bush line there. I was able to give it a shot from here, and it just came barreling down. And I got another shot into it just there, and it sort of piled up just at the end of the... So this deer were just bedded up in here somewhere in the sun, and I saw him just in this bush. Broadside shot looking this way at the deer that I spooked from down lower. So I was able to just get the crosshairs on him with the 150 grain hot core, and from up there it's only probably a 60-metre shot. So my velocity would be about 2700. And he just jumped at the shot and has come dancing down here. Some good marks. There's no blood trail. Yeah. Good marks. Nice deep marks. Splayed feet, so it's done a skid here. Still no blood. Through the gap. So I think it's worth noting with the 150 grain projectiles in a closer range, there will not necessarily be a blood trail. I've followed this deer now for only about 40 or 50 metres from where I initially hit it, and I saw it lurching downhill and stumbling quite a bit, as the skid marks have indicated, before regaining its feet now and then and making it another probably 20 metres from here before piling up. Now I may or may not have got a second shot into that yet, but we'll find that out shortly. But luckily there has been some rain of recent times, so the dirt is quite noticeably broken where the deer has ran through. So we're just going to follow that down and we'll find it piled up here, but there is some good beds just here, and that's exactly what these deer were doing. Away from the cattle, but in the sun. So let's go down and check this deer out a bit further. And there we have our deer. And so there's our deer piled up. We'll get down there and have a look. Here's our critter. Straight away I'm noticing a hole in the neck and a broken front leg. So let's see. So that's the first one with me Model 7. 308 Winchester with 150 grain spear hot core. It's exited out the shoulder on the far side just in front of it, so hoping to see a nice wound channel. We'll get in there in a minute, but I'll put the expected velocity up out of this 20-inch barrel on the screen to just show that sometimes the 150 grain is suitable if it's not driven to max speed. Yeah, so I've chosen the 150 grain projectile basically just because that's what this gun has told me it likes. It was a bit finicky, as you've seen, to get it shooting, and once I found a projectile that worked, I'm just going to stick with that. That just happens to be the 150 grain spear hot core, flat base. So that's what we're using. And with a 20-inch barrel, we're losing a bit of velocity anyway, especially for close bush stalking distances. So we're not stressing out this 150 grain projectile too much. Admittedly, yes, this is just a year or two old, 2-year-old bloody spiker, but it's probably the same sort of thickness as a hind, and we get a good idea. how this projectile is going to work in case we encounter some big stags. We just have to remember to try and hit them behind this shoulder into the vitals. But I'll turn him over now and we'll get to see where I hit this animal. Just up in the shoulder there will be the exit. Just roll this boy over, see where we've hit him, and sweet in the shoulder, right in the bone. That thing's toast. This was the second shot, carnage, from after hitting the other leg as well. Scun it, come across and hit the bone in there, blew that apart. Yeah, in relation to the animal. So it could have been a little bit different there, but I was shooting from a very up angle, and that's why it's come out quite high on the other side, in front of the shoulder. Yeah, so not really going to cut into that too much per se. I know it's done quite a lot of damage. The exit hole is about 5 cent, maybe 10 cent piece size. So the projectile is really expanded, and that's after hitting the front shoulder bone and then coming to the front of the chest, higher on the other side. I'm pretty happy with that, and I'll keep using that combo and place the shots. But that's perfect. I'm really stoked with that shot actually. But I've got the deer school knife here. Good value, man. I got 60 bucks. And nice sharp, comes to you super sharp, stropped and smooth right out. But just going to rip the back straps off this and the back legs and then head on out of here. I was hoping to get a projectile out of it today just to sort of see what it was like, but as I was just explaining, I'm confident with that for now. And we may pull one out of a big hind at some point, but just remember, hit them behind the front leg and they're going to die. And just don't expect too much in terms of blood trails. We don't always do it, but a heavier for caliber bullet will ensure there's a blood trail, and that can be a bonus if you're in thicker country. But anyway, let's get to it. Catch us on the next one. Let's go hunt.